Welcome back, everyone. We've got chapter 8 today. In the 3rd year of the reign of Belshazzar the king, a vision appeared to me, Daniel, subsequent to the one which appeared to me previously. I looked in the vision, and while I was looking, I was in the citadel of Susa, which is in the province of Elam. And I looked in the vision, and I myself was beside the Ulai Canal. Pause. Susa was a chief city of the Medo-Persian Empire, about 250 miles east of Babylon. This is where King Xerxes built a palace in the book of Esther about a century after Daniel, and Nehemiah was the cupbearer in the Susa palace. All right, verse 3. Then I lifted my eyes and looked, and behold, a ram which had 2 horns was standing in front of the canal. Now the 2 horns were long, but one was longer than the other, with the longer one coming up last. I saw the ram butting westward, northward, and southward, and no other beast could stand before him, nor was there anyone to rescue from his power. But he did as he pleased and magnified himself. All right, pause. We're going to see in verse 20 today that this ram is clearly identified as representing the Medo-Persian Empire, which succeeded the Babylonian Empire. This was an accurate prediction of the partnership between the Medes and the Persians, because the Persians were larger and stronger in the partnership, hence the horn. The Persians emerged after the Medes, so the higher one came up last. Verse 5. While I was observing, behold, a male goat was coming from the west over the surface of the whole earth without touching the ground. And the goat had a conspicuous horn between his eyes. Pause. So a floating goat with a horn between his eyes. Awesome. Carrying on. Verse 6. He came up to the ram that had the 2 horns, which I had seen standing in front of the canal, and rushed at him in his mighty wrath. I saw him come beside the ram, and he was enraged at him. And he struck the ram and shattered his 2 horns, and the ram had no strength to withstand him. So he hurled him to the ground and trampled on him, and there was none to rescue the ram from his power. All right, so we've got a ram and a goat fight here, and the goat won. Then the male goat magnified himself exceedingly, but as soon as he was mighty, the large horn was broken, and in its place there came up 4 conspicuous horns toward the 4 winds of heaven. Pause. Verses 21 through 22 disclose this angry horned floating goat to be Greece, and its horns are identified with the rulers of the Greek Empire. The Greek Empire was depicted as goats long before Daniel came around. They rose from the west with great speed, hence the floating. They had a notable horn or ruler in Alexander. They hated the Medo-Persian Empire and fiercely attacked them. Yet after Alexander's reign, its empire was divided among 4 rulers looking after their own dominions. These 4 rulers consisted of Cassander, ruling over Greece and its region, Lysimachus, ruling over Asia Minor, Seleucus, ruling over Syria and Israel's land, and Ptolemy, ruling over Egypt. Because of Alexander's influence, Greek became the common language of the civilized world and the language of the New Testament. Verse 9. Out of one of them came forth a rather small horn, which grew exceedingly great toward the south, toward the east, and toward the beautiful land. Pause. This very clearly describes Antiochus Epiphanes, who rose from the 3rd Empire to rule the Syrian division in 175 through 164 BC. It, the small horn, grew up to the host of heaven and caused some of the host and some of the stars to fall to the earth, and it trampled them down. Pause. The cosmic language here portrays Antiochus' persecution against Jewish people who would fall under the tyrant's domination. By some estimates, he was responsible for the murder of more than 100,000 Jews. Verse 11. It, Antiochus' Syria, even magnified itself to be equal with the commander of the host, and it removed the regular sacrifice from him, and the place of his sanctuary was thrown down. And on account of transgression, the host will be given over to the horn along with the regular sacrifice, and it will fling truth to the ground and perform its will and prosper. Pause. This part of the vision anticipated the abuse of the people of the land of Israel, the desecration of her temple, the interruption of her worship, and Antiochus's demand for the authority and worship that actually belongs to God. Verse 13. Then I heard a holy one speaking, and another holy one said to that particular one who was speaking, how long will the vision about the regular sacrifice apply, while the transgression causes horror, so as to allow both the holy place and the host to be trampled? He, the Holy One, said to me, for 2,300 evenings and mornings, then the holy place will be properly restored. Pause. This refers to 2,300 days, or approximately a little over 6 years, which is an accurate depiction of the persecution under Antiochus. After his death, the Jews celebrated the cleansing of their holy place in the Feast of Lights, known as Hanukkah, in celebration of the restoration led by Judas Maccabeus. Verse 15. When I, Daniel, had seen the vision, I sought to understand it. And behold, standing before me was one who looked like a man. And I heard the voice of a man between the banks of Ulai. And he called out and said, Gabriel, give this man understanding of the vision. So he came near to where I was standing, and when he came, I was frightened and fell on my face. But he said to me, Son of man, understand that the vision pertains to the time of the end. Pause. So we have Gabriel, the angel or messenger, coming to explain events future from Daniel's day, concerning the nation under the Greek Empire, who would witness a little horn or ruler persecute the people of Israel and defy God. Yesterday in chapter 7, we read about a little horn describing the Antichrist. Verse 25 will show us that Antiochus carries dual significance, foreshadowing the actions of the Antichrist at an earlier period in history. Now while he was talking with me, I sank into a deep sleep with my face to the ground. But he, Gabriel, touched me and made me stand upright. He said, Behold, I'm going to let you know what will occur at the final period of the indignation, for it pertains to the appointed time of the end. The ram which you saw with the 2 horns represents the kings of Media and Persia. The shaggy goat represents the kingdom of Greece, and the large horn that is between his eyes is the first king. The broken horn and the 4 horns that arose in its place represent 4 kingdoms which will arise from his nation, although not with his power. In the latter period of their rule, when the transgressors have run their course, a king will arise, insolent and skilled in intrigue. His power will be mighty, but not by his own power, and he will destroy to an extraordinary degree and prosper and perform his will. He will destroy mighty men and the holy people. And through his shrewdness, he will cause deceit to succeed by his influence. And he will magnify himself in his heart, and he will destroy many while they are at ease. He will even oppose the Prince of Princes, but he will be broken without human agency. Pause. The Prince of Princes is Jesus. So here the connection between Antiochus and the Antichrist is revealed. Same wicked spirit in 2 different individuals and periods of history. In fact, we've seen God use events that happened during or around the time frame of the authors of the Bible to foreshadow future events many times now. All right, verse 26. The vision of the evenings and mornings which has been told is true, but keep the vision secret, for it pertains to many days in the future. Then I, Daniel, was exhausted and sick for days. Then I got up again and carried on the king's business. But I was astounded at the vision, and there was none to explain it. Pause. Poor Daniel. He carried a tough burden with all that was revealed to him, and I'm sure there was much confusion for him as to when and how everything would all play out. But such is the life of a faithful believer. We're called to follow and obey God despite the outcomes and trust in his plan. And one day he'll reveal it all to us. All right, well, today is our day for self-reflection and repentance. I'm just going to give you guys time alone. I'm not going to put any music or anything today, but just ask that we do take a couple minutes to, spend some time before the Lord in repentance. All right, guys, have a great day. God bless you and take care.